Hello and welcome to the JFPT Ultimate Podcast. It's a conversational podcast about fitness. I am your host, Jamie Franklin, and I'm really excited to be bringing this to you guys. It's something I've wanted to do for a while, but things have finally aligned for me to be able to do so. I think nowadays we have too many fitness professionals talking to the general public, talking at the general public, really, and we don't hear enough from you guys. So I think that's something that I want to change. To my mind, it's important to stay grounded in order to help you guys more. So that's why each episode I will have a guest on who is not necessarily part of the fitness industry or even enthusiastic about fitness at all, to try and understand a different perspective, maybe something from a more beginner's perspective, or whatever may come. So without further ado, today's guest is an award-winning comedian. He is
multi-award winning
of a popular show. Multi-award winning. He is the star of popular Instagram show Eggs Over Willis. It's Adam Willis.
Hello. I assume you'll add clapping in there, which is more than I deserve.
Absolute thunderous applause.
Lovely. I should say that they were
How
very.
are you doing, mate?
I'm okay. I'm all right. I've just had a Greg's vegan steak bake, which was delicious, which was all right, but it had it had quite sort of big gelatinous chunks in it, like it was dog food. It probably was. I should say that
they were a glowing report.
I should say that the awards that I won were largely meaningless, and one of them we forgot to. There's only two. One of them we forgot to collect because we didn't know that it was on that day, and so they awarded it to no one. They awarded it to us, but no one claimed it. And the other time we were there for a different award and didn't know we were up for that award, and we did collect it, but I couldn't have even told you what the award was for 2 minutes before we won it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. How are you doing? How's it going?
I'm pretty good. Obviously,
you've just moved house,
as everyone knows. Lockdown. I have just moved house. So this is one of the reasons I've been able to finally do this podcast, because I finally have internet that's good enough that I can actually speak to people clearly. So as you can probably attest, you can hear me.
I can hear you.
A marked improvement.
I come from a long line of spiritualists, but I don't have the psychic ability to be able to pick you up without hearing you. My mother would be deeply ashamed of me.
That would have helped, but
sorry.
But thankfully, everything has finally aligned. We're able to do this today.
Everything has aligned. My chakras are aligned. The stars, Mercury's in retrograde. Everything is well in the universe.
Yes. So, full disclosure. I mean, we've known each other for 16, 17 years now.
Quite a while. I don't even know. I mean, higher than I can count. So probably like 18.
Yeah. So everything that there is to know about Adam, I pretty much already know, and vice versa. So
yeah.
But that's one of the reasons I wanted to get Adam on for the first episode, because I mean he's a hilarious guy. So if anyone's going to make this podcast interesting, it's him.
We'll see.
We'll see. But how's lockdown treating you anyway? I know it's not easy for everyone.
It's okay. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'm just basically covered in crumbs all the time. You know, crusty tissues in the bin. I don't think any different from anyone else. You know, my girlfriend had emergency back surgery, which isn't that funny, and quite what's the word? Quite time consuming for both of us. But yeah, apart from that, I've been sort of, you know, doing the lawn. I've been, you know, a sort of 1950s housewife. I've been doing the laundry, the cooking, folding the sheets, which is very actually
in your little penny.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, and it's been a great reason to pull out my little penny, which, just to clarify, is a type of apron, not what I call my penis.
And we're already down that route, so that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I know how you mean. I mean, first lockdown, I think it was.
I would say, what do you mean? Is your girlfriend's her back? You didn't tell me.
We've already discussed this.
Oh, so
I don't want to get too into. I mean, unless the listeners want to hear about your girlfriend's back.
No, well, no. We're here for fitness. We're not here for. We're not here to hear about a crippled spine. We're here to talk about working bodies.
I don't know how she'd feel about us just going on about her crippled spine.
No,
as you so eloquently put.
She's a narcissist. She'd love it.
Fair enough. I mean, to be fair, I haven't really met your girlfriend yet, so I don't know her as well as you do.
She's lovely. I feel bad for saying she's a narcissist. I mean, it's true, but I love her dearly. You should. Well, we should do so. Anyway, let's get on with fitness.
Yeah, I mean, we can't physically do anything at the moment. We're not allowed.
We could sneak out.
You're
telling me you've not snuck out?
I'm not going to say that I have. I'm not going to condone such behaviour.
That is Jamie Franklin saying he has. He's not going to say he has. He's not going to say... It's like if I stole someone's peanut butter and they said, did you steal the peanut butter? And I say, I'm not going to say if I did or didn't. That means I did steal the peanut butter.
To be fair, during proper lockdown, I have been good and I have not gone where I shouldn't be.
Rubbish.
Obviously, I'm telling the truth. During the tier system,
I know you. You're a rascal. You might pull the wool over all your listeners' eyes into thinking that you're Mr. Sensibility just because you've got your hot fitness body and you've got you're dedicated and devoted and you've got all good habits and stuff, but don't let them think that you're not an absolute rascal. I
mean, I'm not debating that. I'm just saying that during lockdown, I have been a good boy.
Do you know what? Okay, fair enough. You will get a Christmas present this year. I think I've been largely good. I
hope so.
I think I have. I can't really remember. It's hard. The rules are constantly changing, so I don't know.
It's not easy. It's and I can understand that a lot of people find it frustrating, but I think the more we follow the rules and the more we try to do our part, then the easier it's going to be, and the quicker it'll go.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think there's too many people that
Jamie Franklin
that want their freedom.
Jamie Franklin, ultimate prime minister, telling you, just do your bit and stop being a little baby about it.
Yeah,
and just get on with it.
Stop being a baby. Just do it. Come on, guys.
You about to say bitch then? We can cut that out.
Anyway, let's get into it. Get into it. I mean, I've brought you on here. I've brought you on here to understand your perspective on things. So one of the first things we want to do, or I want to do, is
I want to too.
A little bit.
I'm here.
I mean, I don't know if you want to.
I'm here.
I know you. I know I've brought you here.
Don't let my.
You don't know what I'm going to do.
Don't let my aggressive and whimsical tone make you think I don't want to be here. I wouldn't be anywhere else.
I'm sure. Wow. We'll see about that when we get into it.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Oh, my God. I feel like I'm about to get... If you feel like you're an alien that's about to probe me, like I've just crossed the border.
this isn't going well. I
Go
mean,
on then. What do you?
I feel like I'm going through all the stereotypes and making myself sound aggressive, and that's not a good stereotype for a personal trainer.
Isn't that just classic? That's just classic. You. I'm saying this. I just want to caveat this quickly with that. Jamie was actually my personal trainer for a period of time, and he's nothing but lovely. Saying that, I'll go on with the thing that I'm saying. You personal trainers are all the same. You're all horrible, aggressive, sort of angry drill sergeants with repressive daddy issues.
Wow. Okay. I will also say that was I was I was your coach, but I was
Oh,
also not qualified at the time.
oh, that's true.
Um,
That was fun.
this was a good few years ago, so I gave you some general tips
Well,
and a program to follow, but
so I
I
guess.
wasn't as good as I am now.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, bloody hell. I guess I'm more of a
I'm
personal
I'm
reference
just covering
then.
my own back. Yeah.
See, it's a rascal.
So let's give you a bit of an induction, shall we?
Okay. Ooh.
Cue the music. So, induction time. How healthy would you say you are right
Who am I talking to? You. Okay.
now?
I would say that my health, as in like food health, is pretty good. I'm, as you know, I largely have spent my youth consuming my like probably the weight of an elephant in cheese, and I like was even in school a massive fizzy drink fiend, just like guzzling
Yeah.
it by the bottle.
Every single day.
Yeah, ludicrous expense, and like
Yeah.
I'm probably paying for it now, so that has to factor in. But I have been largely vegan since the start of the year. I've not completely like.
Really? I didn't
Well,
know
do you
this.
not know that? Well, I'm vegetarian, but Hannah is vegan.
You're vegetarian?
Well, kind of, I guess. I don't know why it doesn't come up, but
I don't know why this hasn't come up.
well, it's just sort of happened.
It's an exclusive.
Well, the thing is that me and Hannah, when we cook together, she's vegan, so we eat vegan food. And
Right, okay.
then we were in lockdown for 6 months, so I didn't eat meat for 6 months because we were just eating together, which is, mostly vegan food. And it just gets to a point where you're like now it's an odd, because what's odd is that most people turn vegan or vegetarian for like a moral reason, right? Whereas I've
absolutely.
I've largely done it for an easy life.
I can understand
it
that.
the thing is, right, is that I just know it'd disappoint her if I go out and buy a Greg's steak bake rather than a Greg's
Right.
vegan steak bake. I know that if she knew I'd gone out, because I could eat meat around her, but I know she'd be a little bit like, she wouldn't be mad or anything, or she wouldn't say anything, but she'd be like a little bit disappointed. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Just a little bit,
Right.
like when you find out like, someone that you think is all right has been watching reality television, like she'd be a little bit disappointed, and then and then I'm like, okay, well, I could eat it when she's not around, but that also just feels sneaky. And I don't really miss meat. I've still not given up on cheese. Like when I say large,
I don't think you ever could.
no, at this point, I think I would. I think I'm
I
too.
think you'd get withdrawal symptoms.
I think the cold turkey would kill me.
And Hannah would be disappointed if you went cold turkey.
Yeah, and exactly. If I ate cold turkey, don't eat cold turkey. That will kill you. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I've been, I guess I've been vegetarian. I've not really been. I can't say I've been vegan because I've been eating cheese every day this week.
Yeah.
So that would be, I mean, it would be a lie. I could say it, but it would be a lie. Yeah.
That's interesting. Does she do it for? I'm guessing she does it for moral reasons then.
Kind of. It's more environmental reasons. She's not a big.
Okay.
She likes animals, but it's more that's just untenable, and that it's she thinks it's cruel and it's not sustainable, is what she would
Right.
probably say. And she's very compelling. The one thing I would say about anyone that is trying to go vegan is it's not really hard. It's not hard because it's hard to give up meat and it's hard to give up those foods. I mean, like, there'll obviously be some stuff that'll be hard to do, but the really hard thing is it's really tough to make things. You can make things tasty, but you really have to know what you're doing. That's been like a big learning curve. Learning how to make things, find things, and make them taste nice, which I think I can
I
do
think
now.
it can be difficult as well because, I mean, I'm not vegan. I'm not vegetarian. I have no interest of being. But as someone who is lactose intolerant, I do know that milk is just in everything.
Yeah.
So for someone who's vegan, that's I can
Yeah,
understand that pain. But I also can't really sympathise because I physically, if I eat them, then I will be unwell. Whereas someone who chooses not to, then I'm not going to sympathise with that because that's your choice.
Yeah.
Maybe that sounds a little bit harsh, but
yeah, I don't
yeah,
know.
I mean, in terms of the health aspect, I mean, there's not really any scientific evidence to suggest that being vegan or vegetarian is any healthier than eating meat anyway. So
Yeah, I guess
but if you feel
I guess from my perspective, like, if you got to look at it from, like, if you're looking at it from the perspective of uh vegetarianism or veganism versus a meat-based diet, then it probably doesn't make that much difference in terms of health. But if you're looking at it from the difference of a person that is eating, a range of vegetables versus a person that is eating a block of cheese the size of their head, covered in goose fat, which was
with primula on top.
Yeah, exactly. With a delicious squeezy cheese. Oh, do you know what? I went on a cheese making course not too long ago, and they told me. I mean, I knew that primula was it's just a big bag of shit, squeezy shit. Fine, I knew that, but they were like, "Oh, people who eat." He was like, "People who eat primula, like, it's not cheese," and I was just like, died a little bit inside. I was like, literally,
Oh, no.
I was literally like, no one in my life that the cheese expert is telling me that I know it's rubbish, but I like it. And he was just telling me that the squeezy cheese that I like was shit. My girlfriend thinks it's shit. Everyone hates squeezy cheese, but it tastes nice.
I mean, I can't say I'm a fan, but then again, I can't eat it anyway at the moment.
Yeah. You're more of a tomato puree fan.
Oh no, please don't. No.
For anyone who doesn't know, Jamie, he eats it by the barrel. That's not true.
I don't.
That's a lie.
Stop spreading lies. I invite you on here.
Start spreading primula.
Oh.
But
I get what you mean. I mean,
that's like from my
if you're eating more vegetables now, and then I can understand that you would be more healthy.
I could put it, if you take the vegetarian vegan question out, I would just say that my diet is more healthy. I drink less fizzy drinks. I eat a more balanced diet. In terms of physical fitness, I mean, I've barely moved since lockdown at all. I'm like that in that Doctor Who episode, that piece of skin with a face that's stretched over a canvas. I've probably done about as much.
The face of Bo. Wow.
Yeah, I've probably done about as much exercise as the face of Bo has, if less, because no one's wheeled me around. I
think a lot of people have struggled with that. I know a lot of people see gyms as the place to go for exercise, which I don't necessarily agree with.
I hate gyms.
Do you hate gyms, or are you saying you think I hate gyms?
I'm saying that I hate gyms.
Okay, fair. I mean, we can get into that. We can get into that, but
I don't want to get into one. I want to get out of one.
yeah, I think a lot of people have had that issue that because gyms have been closed, that people have been moving less. They can't necessarily go outside. They might be scared to go outside. So I completely understand that there's a lot of people who don't know what to do, who just maybe even see it as an excuse. Um, so I can
Yeah,
understand your side of things. I know you have a history of exercise, albeit sporadic.
I do. And I
So why don't you
worked.
tell me?
Sorry.
I was just going to say, why don't you tell me a little bit about your history with exercise?
I'm a man of many fads and fleeting attempts. I've, previously had at least one peck. Um, I, I, you know, I don't think I don't feel like a person whose body is physically unattractive or looks unfit, but I'm not a person of an athletic build. Just to paint a very vivid picture uh, of me. I've also got a little tattoo of an egg on my hip in case you were picturing me naked when I was saying that. Um, the
I still can't believe you got that done.
Yeah, it's good fun, good fun. Um, I I largely turned my back on gyms probably a year ago, 2 years ago, and I started working at a climbing wall, which I enjoyed. I think I enjoy more um competitive forms of exercise or more exercises that feel like you're doing something rather than the same repetitive thing over and over again. But I guess in answer to your question, I've had an on and off. I've done lots of different forms of fitness for short periods of time, and
Yeah,
I enjoy doing it, but I get quite easily bored. But
yeah.
I wouldn't describe myself as a person that looks particularly fit
I mean, yeah.
or unfit.
If you don't mind me saying, I think you'd have quite an average. I mean, you're not skinny, you're not fat,
Yeah.
you're not. Someone looked at you, they wouldn't necessarily think that you're one or the other.
Mm.
You're quite in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the diet has definitely helped with that because
I'm
the
what
diet is the key to the whole fat loss thing. So, um,
I'm what you'd expect if you were thinking of like a white straight man with a slightly crazed look in their eye. I'm probably what you'd
as
expect.
with your lockdown beard and
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
like, yeah, exactly.
yeah. I mean, thinking back, I mean, obviously, I know a lot of what you've done, whether it's a different form of martial arts, whether I know you had a stint of running before you did you break your foot or your ankle?
I was very serious. I had a grade 3 sprain, which is
Right,
one higher than a grade 2 sprain. And is the
good to know.
and I think is the highest grade sprain you can get, although I'm not a doctor.
No, I maybe one of our listeners can tell us about that because
I
I'm not sure. In all honesty.
The doctor said to me when I went in, so I was in a boot for 6 months after that sprain, and he was like, again, you got to imagine I've got one of those big black boots that looks like like a sort of cyborg UGG, and I came in and the doctor was like, and does it hurt? Is there when does it hurt? And I was like, only really when I run. And he looked at me, he sort of gave me, even though he was looking straight at me, somehow he gave me side eye, and he looked at me and he went, "Don't run on it," which
I
really,
remember you telling me
really was really was quite reasonable.
this.
I also remember the most miserable point of that whole thing. The first time when I got the boot and I got told I was going to be in a boot, and the my director at drama school. I went to drama school before I was a comedian. I was trained as an actor. at drama school, I was about to play the part of Malvolio in Twelfth Night, and my director was like, "If your foot doesn't get better, then you're gonna drop that part, and you might have to restart the year." So I was really scared.
Oh no.
And then I came out of that was all bollocks. I came out of he was an idiot. I won't say. I was about to say his name, but I don't
I'm
know.
sure he's probably not listening, to be
No,
honest.
he's probably not listening. The uh, uh, anyway, he's an idiot. And he said that he said that I was going to get dropped. So I was really miserable. My sister picked me up and we were about to go to a Halloween party, but I was still really miserable. But I was miserable wearing a boot, dressed with a crutch, and I'd agreed to go to a party dressed as Bert and Ernie. So I was dressed as Bert from Sesame Street, but just at a party with my crutch, looking like I was trying to like sap soil out of the earth with my eyes.
Wow, that's quite the picture you've painted there.
Yeah. Anyway, fitness.
Yeah. So I mean, I know I remember. Maybe I'm remembering incorrectly, but I think you were quite despondent about the fact that you couldn't run anymore. Because I know you'd got quite into it at that point.
It was the only time in my life I'd actually gotten into running. I hated running, and
Yeah.
ironically, I sprained my ankle at the only time I attended a running club. So I asked one of my friends, would he go to a running club with me? Because I'd been running and enjoying it. And I went, oh, why didn't I try a running club? And I had some SU sports lead was running this running club. And I hurt myself falling off the thing, and he tried to get me to run on it again afterwards, which was stupid. And then after that, he never spoke. After that, and he saw me in a boot, he never spoke to me again. He saw me coming. I saw him see me coming, and I saw him very quickly look away. And if you're listening, I hope you get a very bad sprain. I won't say anything meaner than that.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, a challenge has been issued there.
Mm.
That's a first.
Maybe a bad sprain is a bit mean. I hope you get indigestion today.
That's harsh.
Okay, sprain then. I'll go back to sprain.
So, sorry. What would you say? What do you think it would take to get you back into exercise?
I think I'm at a point where I'm too bored of. I know what I'm like now as a person. I don't think I'm particularly interested in the way I look. I'm not particularly interested in doing actions over and over again. I need a goal that I'm excited about, or I need an activity that I find exciting. I think for me, it's all about engagement. It's why I liked rock climbing, because I enjoyed doing it, and it worked me out, but I enjoyed doing it. And it's why I like badminton, because I can run around like a cat with a laser beam, and at the end of it,
I love badminton.
Yeah, at the end of it, I've worked out. I mean, I've never beaten you at badminton in the 27 years that I've known. Well, for you, 28 now. Well, no, I haven't known you 27 years. The 11 years I've 16.
16, 17, yeah.
16, 17 years that we've known each other. I've never beaten you.
I mean, I am the badminton intercontinental champion.
You are. You do have the plastic belt that
yeah.
you bought and then won.
So I'm really glad that you brought up the whole thing about not necessarily enjoying exercise in a traditional sense of going to a gym or working out in that sense, because I don't think that's right for everyone, and I think it's important that everyone should be doing something they enjoy.
Yeah.
Something that works for them more so. Whether that's running, whether that's climbing, like you said, whether that's playing badminton with your friends or whether that niche is for you. So on that subject, I do want to talk to you about what you feel your ultimate form is.
Oh,
Whether that's aesthetically, whether that's how you feel,
mine is the crab.
whatever.
That reminded me weirdly of there was one of Yasmin's ex-boyfriends once told a story of how he, when he was a child, dreamed of being a baseball when he grew up, and one of the teachers told him that wasn't possible, and he went home and cried. Which
Okay.
is stupid. No matter how young he was, you can't be a baseball, or you can, live your dreams.
I mean, the fact that he was 16 might have been a problem.
Yeah, exactly. By that point, you're at least dodgeball size.
Exactly.
I think I just want to be able to use my body well. I don't really care. I've accepted that, like Timothy Spall, I've accepted that I'm never going to be, I'm never going to be a model. I'm never going to be Hulk Hogan. I'm never going to be Hulk. I'm never going to be the Hulk, is what I'm saying. I'm never going to be the Hulk.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be a real American. I'm never going to be, I'm never going to have Brad Pitt from Fight Club's body. Like, fine. I'm not trying to do that. But I did grow up doing martial arts, and on stage, I've made a lot of physical comedy. So I like being able to fall over, and I like being able to surprise people with what I can do. So stuff for me that's really appealing is like occasionally I think, oh, why didn't I do pole dancing or something? Because no one would expect that, and it would be funny. Like, it would be funny if I could just do that. And I think it's where rock climbing comes. I enjoy doing it, but also part of me goes, you see a lot of people in rock climbing doing some crazy stuff, just like hanging off the roof. Like people, they've got like ridiculous finger strength and can just climb a wall. And that's quite that's quite a nice idea. I think I'd like to be able to do stuff. And it's where capoeira has come in useful, which I used to learn. I practiced capoeira for like 2 years. And it meant that I could just do like a weird flippy thing or like a cartwheel. And in shows, that was very useful because I don't look like a person that can do those things. That's quite a niche, I think, reason to want for an ultimate form. So my ultimate form would be, I think, quite acrobatic and quite agile, but in a surprising way that just doesn't look like a person that can do those things, but then can suddenly tuck into a quadruple backflip from sitting. That would be my ideal.
I get you. I mean,
and also I'd have bionic fingers.
I'm sure your girlfriend would appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Without wanting to sound like Yasmin's boyfriend's teacher, you can, everything you said you can't do, you absolutely can do. Whether it's having Brad Pitt's body, I mean, not necessarily exactly like that. You're two different people, but if you wanted,
I did mean similar to. You are right. I didn't mean physically kidnapping Brad Pitt, and coveting him as like a sort of Eddie Gein lampshade.
But physically speaking, there is no reason other than your own want of it, for lack of a better phrase, for you not to be able to achieve those things. You absolutely can do.
I think
if that's not something that you strive for, if that's not something that you care about, that's a completely different subject.
Do you know what? I know what you mean, and I appreciate that if I worked hard, I could do those things. I think I just don't want it enough. I think I don't want, and I don't really. It doesn't bother me. I'm quite happy with my body, and I don't.
And and some people don't care about the aesthetics of it, which again is absolutely fine. Which is why I want to ask this question, because a lot of people when they talk about fitness, they do think about the aesthetics, but sometimes it's more about, as you say, how useful your body is using it as a tool. And I think that's still something that you can do. I mean, a lot of the aesthetics will come from your diet, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to.
The
I don't want to. I don't want to. Bullshit you and make you think that if I was like pig ugly, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't. I'm not saying I don't want to be attractive. What I'm saying, I guess, quite immodestly, is I think I feel okay with how I look at the moment, and I haven't always. Like there was definitely a point where I had slightly more weight and felt a little bit chubby, I guess, and I wasn't so
yeah
happy with my body then, and particularly my face. I put on a lot of, I get big jowls like a
yeah
bloodhound.
you do get a bit of fat face, don't
I do get a little fat face. Um, but I now I think I'm at a point where I'm a little bit leaner, and I'm pretty comfortable with it. If I got more, if I got fitter and looked slightly more athletic, I'd be I'd be perfectly happy. I'd be I'd be proud of it. I'd be happy with
you?
how I
Yeah.
looked, but it's not a goal. I don't wake up and sort of hate my body sufficiently enough to want to get something better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as I said, the diet is the most important thing in terms of looking ripped or shredded or however anyone wants to put it. That's the point in which people think they're getting toned.
I'd also like to say
Quotation marks.
I'd also like to say as
Um,
well, from my perspective, that the diet is also the most important thing if you want to look spongy. um, from
yeah, pack
experience.
on that cheese on the plate.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, in terms of having a useful body, absolutely, that's still something that people can and should strive for, and I think that's a great goal to have. And like you say, if you want to do something that you enjoy, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to go to a gym for that,
yeah.
as you've said. As
I
long as
mean,
you're, I mean, the World Health Organization, to bring it to a more professional standard, um, states that you should be doing at least 150 minutes of moderate exercise every week.
I wonder.
If you are doing that,
I wonder how many
whether
of them are
that's
doing that. I hope they're doing that. They're not just sitting at their desk telling everyone what to do, because that sounds like who they are.
was that a pun?
I think so. And after I did it, I hoped you'd gloss over it.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Um, maybe they do, maybe they don't. You get lots of doctors who smoke and things like that. So everyone's a hypocrite.
Mm.
Um,
Um,
but it's one of those things. And again, if you're doing that 150 minutes of exercise or more, there are more health benefits for doing more. But whether you're doing that through going to the gym or running or climbing or whatever it is you want to do, that's sufficient. That's your
that's.
goal. Then
I will say this
that's
though.
perfect.
I will say this. At 27, looking back on 15 or 16-year-old me, I should have been putting slightly less wrist locks, because I don't know how your wrists are, but my left wrist is weak now.
Ah,
I spent 5 years being put in wrist locks by bouncers that were trying to be Bruce Lee, and another 2 years cartwheeling on it. And Jesus, it's like it's like a windsock. My hand.
my I have to say my right wrist is a little bit weak. So through some recent forearm training, it has strengthened a bit more. Um,
Okay.
but my neck, to be honest, yeah, I'm doing having guillotines done on me and things like
Whenever,
that.
whenever you, whenever you, when, if you meet Jamie in person, you can't tell this in his Instagram posts, because he in his Instagram posts he has his son prop his head up with a stick, but Jamie actually can't support his own head weight. So when you go out to dinner with Jamie, his head is like, his mouth is on his chest, and he always looking at the floor, or his head's right back if you catch him at a funny angle.
Yeah, if you imagine nearly headless Nick from Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's what you are.
That's essentially what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
strong posture. Apart from that, though, it doesn't fall into a slump any further down. It's just the head.
And on that note, we do have one last big discussion, the ultimate discussion, which I don't know if you want to introduce, Adam, because this is something that you have chosen to talk about.
I've picked washboard abs. That's what I want to talk about. I want to demystify them. What?
Okay.
What the hell? What would I do?
What?
Okay, right. I mean, it would be nice to have a firmer paunch, but I don't know if I necessarily want 6-pack abs. But what I'm interested in is, firstly, can everyone get a 6-pack? Secondly, let me bloody finish. Sorry. Let me finish.
You take the lead.
It's my discussion. It's my topic. Right. Firstly, I'm sorry for shouting. Secondly, can everyone get them? Thirdly, what do you do? Is it a diet thing? Do you train specific muscles? What can you do it? Is it the sort of thing you can actually do at home? Because I think there's a lot of bullshit online,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So firstly, no, not everyone can have a 6-pack.
Okay.
The reason for this is that everyone's rectus abdominis, which is the 6-pack abs.
Sorry, what was it called?
The rectus abdominis.
I'm just checking.
Yeah. You weren't. Yeah. You didn't miss here. That's the muscles, the muscle on the front, which looks like the 6-pack. Not everyone necessarily has a 6-pack there. Some people have a 4-pack. Some people have a 6-pack. Some people have an 8-pack.
Some people have an X-pack.
Some people have an X-pack. Some people have a 2-pack.
That was good. That was good, actually.
Thanks. So yeah, not everyone can necessarily have a 6-pack, and not only that, not everyone will look as you imagine them to look. Some people have they're not symmetrical.
Okay.
If you,
is it like
a?
So like, can I ask this? Is it like if you like excavate the layer of fat that's over it, will it always look a certain way? Or if you had like an asymmetrical rectus abdominis,
abdominis. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Will is there a way, if it was asymmetrical, is there a way for you to train it symmetrically, or is it just what you just get what you've got?
It's all genetic. So you have what you have. It's the same as if two people trained identically, their diets were the same, their weights were the same, everything like that. They might have two very different physiques because their genetics are different. So it's the same with the abs. The abs are a muscle. The rectus abdominis is a muscle. So not two peoples aren't necessarily going to look the same. So if you have asymmetrical abs, then that's just what you've got. Not necessarily a bad thing. Aesthetically, it's up to you, but that's just what you've got. You can't train it to become more symmetrical no matter what you do with that.
Okay, I like what you're saying, and I agree with your expertise, but I found a website here that's called 12 Exercises That Will Give You Washboard Abs. So why should I go to you when there is a website with seemingly no obvious legitimacy and lots of videos from Howcast, which I didn't even know was still a thing. Howcast, to anyone that doesn't know, is a series of very, very poorly made how-to videos that I used to watch when I was like 12. And it says that if I do half sit-ups, plank jacks, knee-high raises, should have them by the end of the week.
Yeah, that's... Again, the abs are a muscle. You have to train them like that, and that includes progressive overload, which entails, making the exercise harder, doing more, adding more volume, adding more weight, whatever it is you're doing. You have to train your muscles in that sense. So
okay, but what about the bloody that vibrating thing? You're telling me that doesn't work?
no,
or like electrodes?
no. It's you're just contract. I mean, if you imagine this, you stand in the mirror and you just keep tensing your arms.
Yes, I do
They're
that.
not going to get any bigger.
I do that. I do that, and they did. No, they didn't. I don't.
Well, I mean, from physically tensing them, they will look bigger whilst you're tensing them.
Oh, that's what I meant.
But other than that, it will not elicit any sort of hypertrophy response. So yeah, it's not something that's going to really work. And I've forgotten what your second question was.
I still think I said electrodes, but
No,
I think it's the same thing, isn't it? Like they just tense the muscle.
Initially, you had 3, like 6. And everyone had a 6-pack.
Oh, and the other one was, okay, what would I do? Let's say underneath my layer of cheese, I did have a 6-pack. I did have washboard abs.
Yeah.
Which is also really stupid, right? I mean, I get it. What would I do to access them?
So again, I feel like I keep repeating myself. The abs are a muscle. You need to train them like one. So that's.
But so is it?
You have to,
so it's more about training the muscle than it is about diet.
It's both. I mean, you're not going to be able to see your abs unless you get rid of that layer of fat.
Okay.
So once you're in a calorie deficit and you're achieving fat loss, eventually, depending on how your fat loss is, genetically predisposed, eventually that stomach will go and you will be able to see abs. To have more defined abs, you will need to train them in the gym.
Okay.
Not necessarily in the gym, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you will need to train them, and that includes a range of different exercises, from spinal flexion to anti-spinal extension. You will need to train those movements in order to get a more defined rectus abdominis. That also works for your obliques as well. Mm-hmm. So, and in terms of a training model, these 12-minute abs or 10-minute abs or 5-minute abs, they're not going to cut it. You need to have a volume that's much higher than that. I mean, most people could probably be doing ab training 4 to 6 times per week. I mean, if you think about the abs as what they are, they sort of stabilize. They're working all day to keep you upright, so their capacity for recovery is incredibly high, which means you don't need to be training abs once or twice a week, because by the time they've recovered, you've wasted all that potential to be training them again.
Yeah.
So by training them anything from 4 to 6 times a week, you will be.
That's something I'd never considered, that there are different parts of your bodies have different recovery speeds. Because I always assumed it was like you do 1 day on, 1 day off.
Yeah, for the most part, obviously a lot of the muscles in your body would having that day off is for 90% is probably the best thing. For things like for things like your abs or even your forearms, they have a much higher capacity for recovery, which means you can do a lot more training with them.
Mm-hmm.
I've known guys that can train abs consistently for years and never have to take a day off. Everyone has a different recovery capacity rate, so it's
Do you know
something
what?
you have to find out for yourself.
They should, though, because let's say we were away on my, like, I'm having like a 2-day stag do, right?
Yeah.
And my friend Clive, we've just been out on one. Everyone's wrecked, and then everyone's hungover, and we're about to go go-karting, or do whatever people do on those things. And he's doing his abs. I'd go, what are you today? Or not, maybe not that. Maybe that's a bad example, but I don't know, like Christmas Day. Do you do your abs on Christmas Day? Would you do that? Do you get up and work out on Christmas Day?
I have done.
You have done?
I've done it on my birthday. I've done it on...
Yeah, but
it's
your
something...
birthday, you love it, right? You love it. So doing it on your birthday is fine. But
again, I mean, how much of the day do you spend doing something with everyone? I mean, taking half an hour to yourself to do something isn't a bad thing, and if it's something you enjoy, then why not?
Yeah, I suppose that's the difference.
But it's not the same for everyone, and absolutely take a day off if you want to. But I'm not saying you have to train abs, every day for the next 3 years. But if you want to make some progress, training them 4 to 6 times a week, preferably more towards the 6 times. Even if it was just one exercise a day, doing 2 or 3 sets of that exercise.
Is there anything that needs less training a week? Like, is there anything that is less than like 3 or 4 times a week? Is like maximum, like your eyebrows or something? Like if you lift more than twice a week.
You had to pick eyebrows, didn't you? You had to pick eyebrows.
Jamie, I wasn't going to bring that. I didn't even think about that. But you should know that Jamie's eyebrows firstly, when we were in school, Jamie didn't have any eyebrows, and I found that very funny.
I did have eyebrows. They were just very light.
I think if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. If you've got eyebrows but no one can see them, do you have eyebrows? And then
such an ass.
And then you grew, and then they slowly appeared, that magically for about a week, and now they've turned white.
One of them has.
One of them has.
One of them has.
You've got one white eyebrow.
Yeah, I may have some sort of condition.
You've gone half Gandalf.
Which affects the pigments. But we'll see about that. We're getting slightly off topic.
You'll all see about that.
So back to your original question. There's not really any muscle that requires more than that. It depends on how much volume you're really overloading that muscle with. And if you're giving yourself so much training on that particular muscle that you need to take 2, 3, 4 days rest, then I don't think it's optimal personally. I think there's better ways to be training.
Mm-hmm.
But back to abs, I think training them more frequently, using exercises that you can overload and make them progressively harder as time goes on, whether that's adding weight, reps, whatever the case may be, and something that you can really get peak contraction from. It's all well and good picking a hard exercise, but if you're not really contracting your abs, it's not really going to do much. Just like if you're, obviously I know a lot of people do planks, but again, the contraction of the abs during a plank is fairly negligible in comparison to other exercises like ab wheel rollouts, hanging leg raises, or other exercises, like that. I mean, I believe I'm correct in saying that push-ups have a higher abs contraction than planks, or even chin-ups, pull-ups do as well. So pick your exercises that that you can do, that you can get that contraction out of,
I might start.
even if it's just one a day.
I was thinking about
Um,
starting to do chin-ups. I'm starting pretty low. I probably can't do that many chin-ups at the moment, but we bought a pull-up bar because Blake, who, I mean, you don't need this detail on Blake, but Blake has had a few back issues throughout his life, and is kind of my go-to source for that. And because Hannah was getting them, I bought a hefty resistance band, which is like this, basically like a large rubber band that's strong enough to hold your weight. And I wrapped that round there was this crazy exercise where you're like a bat and you're like hanging upside down from a chin-up bar. But I bought it for that. And we did it like a few
okay.
times, but it was too hard to get into because Hannah was in so much pain. But now I have a chin-up bar. I might do a few pull-ups. What way round should I do them? Should I do them front hand, like ledge style, or should I do them like, I don't know what I'd call that, like pull-up style?
Yeah. So they both have slightly different muscle group contractions. So with the underhand grip, you're going to be working your biceps a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I personally prefer the overhand grip.
Yeah. And I know
think
why. Because you played a lot of Uncharted when we were younger, and that's the sort of game where you have to climb up ledges a lot. And I can imagine it being more. I can imagine it being more satisfying to you thinking you're on the edge of a cliff, rather than putting your arms through the wall. And it hasn't rendered.
You say that, but one of the reasons that I want to be able to master pull-ups is because I do have an irrational fear that I will be hanging off a ledge one day and I will need to pull myself up.
Where would you be? Where would you?
I don't.
You've lived in two
I
different.
told you it's irrational.
You lived on multiple coastlines. Neither of them have any ledges.
I told you it is irrational. But if that ever were to happen one day and I can pull myself up, I will be the one who's laughing.
Oh man, you need to come climbing with me and get your fingers. I do. You've not done it.
I really do.
It would be a lot of fun. That would be my big shout out from the episode. Shout out to the bouldering community, because I think the bouldering community, on what you're saying, fitness doesn't have to just be based in the gym, and fitness also doesn't have to be like a mean drill sergeant, and lots of people in tank tops shouting at each other and beating their chest. I think the climbing community, I've found, are a really encouraging group of fitness fanatics where they really invest in each other and they really enjoy watching people eat, like people, even real beginners that are not, particularly fit. They really do invest in you, and anyone, when you go climbing, anyone will help you out. It's like a lovely place to be, and I've really found that in terms of fitness, it's been one of my favourite environments. That would be
so yeah. In terms of your pull-ups, one thing I would suggest is, if you can't
arms, use arms.
No.
If you're oh god.
I mean, yeah, that sounds a bit strange, but use your arms as levers essentially. So try and really use your back to pull yourself up, rather than, that makes sense.
Okay. I get what you mean. So you're saying grip your hands on the bar, not your shoulder blades, but use the muscles in your back to pull you up, not
to pull yourself up.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, the whole thing about pulling your chest to the bar, you don't need to do that. You'll that's not really correct form.
Okay.
And also,
is correct form as well, just to check, in working out, is that like because it will hurt you, or is it just because it's impolite in a gym? People will scoff and will go like putting your elbows on the table.
I mean, I'm sure people will scoff, to be honest. You do get people who are judgmental.
Yeah, but to be fair, some people do some silly things. When I was in the gym, it's like I told you, there was some guy doing a dumbbell curl with that like cable machine, but he was literally, I mean literally, hitting himself in the head.
I know, and that is something that I will absolutely be getting into in another episode. But for now, what I will say is that if you can't do too many pull-ups, one thing I can suggest to you is to do negative pull-ups.
What you mean is,
So
by that do you mean less?
no,
Do
unfortunately not. So if you've got something to stand on, then what I would suggest is standing on something, getting to the top of the movement, and slowly lowering yourself down.
okay. Maybe I'll start with those. That
Because
sounds good.
basically what that does is during the concentric part of a movement is contracting your muscles and pulling yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
The eccentric part is lowering yourself down, and during that eccentric part is when your muscle fibers will tear, and when your muscle fibers tear, that's where the muscle growth occurs during recovery, because during recovery it will try and pack on more in order for that not to happen again. So that's essentially how muscles grow.
Okay, I have a question.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, when I lower myself, am I lowering myself and then putting my foot on the floor, or am I lowering myself down and then so I'm like resetting, and then I'm just doing the lowering?
Just doing the lowering. So if you can do some pull-ups, do as many as you can, and then after that, do a few more negative pull-ups as well. Which again, because you're adding that extra stress on your body, you're pushing yourself over, where your body is comfortable, and because you're then forcing your body to recover and adapt, then you should get to a point where you can then do more pull-ups.
Okay. Well, I might give that a go in the week. I think that sounds like a
let
good
me know.
idea.
I mean, it's good that you've got this friend who's a personal trainer.
Yeah, it's convenient.
It is convenient for you, isn't it?
That would be
it's a shame you don't use him.
That would be my perspective and my fitness. Oh, here we go. That'd be my perspective. My fitness tip is make friends with Jamie Franklin PT or another personal trainer.
Yeah.
But I imagine on your podcast, it should just be.
To be honest, this is again. I don't want it to sound like I'm making a sales pitch. So if there's someone else,
you don't want it to sound like it is, but
if there is someone else that you connect with better, if there is someone who motivates you more, absolutely use them. If you can get some information from me that helps you, fantastic. If you don't feel like I'm someone that can help you, but someone else can, by all means, then use them, because the ultimate goal here is to get you to a place where you achieve your ultimate form. It's not just to stroke my ego.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say the main take home for me is I want to be able to help people.
I think that is a lovely way to wrap up. I think that is a lovely message.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're taking the reins now, clearly. So yeah, you end my podcast.
No,
that's
fair.
fine.
No, fair enough. No, let's keep going.
No,
I have a hilarious story about a bridge. Would you like to hear it?
I think we've had enough of your hilarious stories today.
Fair enough.
But honestly, thank you for coming on. Thank you for everyone who has tuned in to listen. Like I said, I've been so excited to try and do this podcast. It's something that I've wanted to do for so long, and can finally actually do it. I don't know how often we're going to do it. It might just be a monthly thing at the moment, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see what you guys think. If you have any comments, if you have any whatevers, let me know. I want to hear your thoughts.
If you want to send money,
absolutely.
If you want to send presents, then you can do that at JPT Fitness.
You can't even get it right.
At Jamie Franklin, personal trainer.
Finished?
Yes.
Okay. So, by all means, if you've got questions, I will be taking fan questions throughout the podcasts. So, by all means, you can contact me on my Instagram. At point of recording, I haven't set it up, but it should be JFPT Ultimate. You can also find me on my website at jamiefranklin.co.uk. Had to think there for a moment.
Jimmy Franklin.
Otherwise, in terms of future podcasts, you should be able to listen to us anywhere you get your podcast, whether that's iTunes, Spotify, wherever else.
In the bushes.
In the bushes.
In a bottle that you found at the seaside.
I will be throwing it out to you anywhere that you want. Yeah. Any last thoughts, Adam?
Oh, look, listen, this is all I'll say. I've had a lovely time. I'm going to do some pull-ups. I'm going to try and, I'm probably not going to try and get six-pack abs, but I've learned a lot. So thank you for that.
Good. And I'm glad. That's what it's here for.
I'll say this: if anybody wants to watch me, my Instagram channel, I try a different egg a week, although it's ending. So I don't know.
There are a lot of episodes, but
look, I mean,
I think we're one episode out of it being the last day.
Yeah, I mean,
at point of recording,
I'm sure. Look, just everyone have a nice time.
Absolutely, and a big thank you to all the key workers and NHS staff as well. They are doing an amazing job at the moment, so we might as well give them a thank you. And otherwise, just stay safe.
And a big thank you to you, Dominic Cummings.
That's how we're ending this. Okay. Right. Well, on that note, again, thanks everyone for listening. Thank you, Adam, for coming on. We will be back. Oh, I will be back. I don't know if Adam will be. He might be on a future episode. Who knows? We will be back another time, possibly next month, with a brand new guest talking about brand new subjects. But for now, I will see you all soon. Take care.
See you later.